So this young lady was really independent. She had her own money, own car, own crib. She would always say that she don't need a man for nothing and was proud about that. Every time a dude tried to talk to her, they felt intimidated by her. They felt like she felt that she was too good to talk to anybody. And everywhere she went, her head was held high and she was confident on who she was. But one day, this young woman started getting lonely and she really wanted a man to talk to. But it seemed like a lot of men wasn't meeting her standards. They'd be tall, dark, and handsome just like she liked, but financially, they just not there. Until she met this young man at a coffee shop. When this young man seen her, he fell in love with what he seen. So he wanted to basically shoot his shot. So once he got his coffee, he walks over to her table and asks, is anybody sitting right here? She smiles really bright because she feels like he's very handsome and said, no, you can have a seat. Next thing you know, they start talking and they hit it off. As they getting to know each other, she asks him, what does he do? He smiles and jokingly says, well, I'm a therapist. She said, a therapist? Really? He said, listen, I'm not examining you. I'm just having a good time to get to know you. She gives him a joking, flirty response with, oh, you can examine me. And then they laugh it off. So some time go by and this man is actually considering a relationship with her. So he asks her, how would you feel to be a stay-at-home mom? And she felt like that was the most stupidest question asked in the world. It almost triggered her to want to snap. She says, no, I cannot do that. I will never do that. So he jokingly says, okay, Miss Independent. So if me and you wasn't together, you wouldn't want to be a stay-at-home mom? So she says again, listen, that's just not for me. And if you want somebody like that, it's plenty of women out here for you. His response was, I'm not gonna lie, I really want you. And please tell me what I gotta do to make you a stay-at-home mom. This young lady blood is boiling. She is furious at this point. Then she said, you know what? I don't think we should talk no more. I think we should move forward. He says, wait, why? Then she hangs up the phone. Couple days go by, she starts feeling lonely. A week go by, she hella lonely. So the young man comes and knocks on her door. She's confused on who it is, so she gets up, walks to the door, and looks through the peephole. Once she sees him, she's happy, but she's mad at the same time. She opens the door and says, what are you doing here? The young man said, can I please come in? She said, for what? I already told you I don't think this will work. He looks at her and says, please, I don't want to mess this up. She feels really wanted and feel like she can control things now. So she lets him in the door. So she sits down, he sits down, and he says, listen, I just want to apologize if I offended you, but I really, really like you. And I do want to see where this can go. She said, you didn't offend me. I just think we're looking for two different things. So next thing you know, he starts breaking her down and asking her questions. And when he starts asking her questions, he starts asking her questions about her childhood. He said, I remember you telling me you was the only child. How did it feel not having any siblings? She said, it felt lonely and I felt like I was in the world by myself. He said, why did you feel like you was in the world by yourself? She said, because my mom or my dad wasn't around as much. My dad was running the streets and my mom was just a mother that was doing it on her own, struggling. So then he said, well, when you was in your mother's care, was she not feeding you right? Was she just not taking care of you right? She said, oh my gosh, it used to be so bad for me as a kid that I would love to be in school just because we got a chance to eat. When summertime came along, I didn't have no food in the house as a kid. My mom would mess up her money, mess up the food stamps that we would get. And for my whole life, I just didn't have nobody to depend on. So when I got older, I told myself I will always depend on myself at least. So I always worked hard so I wouldn't be like my mama and my daddy. Those long, dark, cold, lonely nights was crazy. Plus I was starving. Just thinking about it is getting me emotional. Now he realized why she's so independent. Why she don't even want to trust a man to be a stay-at-home mom, because she feels like she can be stuck in that same predicament she was when she was a kid. She put so much trust in her mother and her father, and it didn't get her nowhere. So she was scared to put that same trust in a man. So the young man said, you know what? I understand you now. He said, I understand that you feel like you can't trust nobody. That you feel like you have to do everything on your own. And I totally understand that. But he said, I want you to understand that you can depend on me. No matter what you need, I will always be there for you. She looked up and said, I don't know if I could trust that. He said, look, I'm not asking you to trust my words, because you will trust my actions. Fast forward, they get together. Now they're in a relationship. He starts paying her bills and their bills. Then they get a place together, get engaged, and everything is perfect. Then she gets pregnant, and now it's a scary situation. She's feeling sick, she can't do as much as she wants to, and her whole world is crumbling down. Even though her man take care of the bills, she's just panicking. So she's having a mental breakdown, and her man comes to her and says, what's going on? She said, I don't know, I'm freaking out because I feel like we finna fail. I'm sick, I can't help. She said, I'm trying my best to get up every day and my feet hurt and this, that, and the third, but I can't do nothing. He said, baby, the only thing you need to do is relax. I got everything else. She looked at him with a sigh of relief like, I don't know if I should be okay with this. He said, so your back hurt, right? So I'm gonna run your bath water, rub your feet until you feel comfortable. And this man will make her feel comfortable every single day. To the point, 2 years later, when she realized that she stopped working and the only thing she did was be a stay-at-home mom. She's crying, looking at her daughter, thinking to herself, I did not believe this could ever happen. Her husband walks in the door, sees that she has tears in her eye. He says, baby, what's wrong? She grabs her husband's hand and puts it on her chest and looks in his eyes and says, baby, I'm so happy that I could depend on you. All my life, I felt like I couldn't depend on nobody. And it feels so good to have somebody I can depend on. She said, I just had a moment where I realized that I told you I didn't want none of this. And you made everything so comfortable for me. She touched his face and said, I will always be grateful. He said, baby, I got something to tell you. Her eyes bucked. She kind of shocked. He pulled out his chair and he sat down. He said, I had a lot of bumps in the road. It's been times that I sat in my car and I cried because I was failing. It was times where everything was overwhelming and I felt like I couldn't do it. But when I seen how comfortable I made you, when I seen that you couldn't depend on nobody but me, and every single time I came home, you showed me so much love and support. Every time I came home, it was nothing but peace. And that's what kept me pushing. So now that we financially where we want to be at, I couldn't have did this without you. So I want to thank you for believing in me because it helped me become a better man for you. Tears rolling down her eye, she goes to her husband, they kiss and live happily ever after. But the story not done. I only wanted to share this story because I feel like a lot of women that's independent don't feel like they have anybody they can depend on. Some women are not independent because they want to. It's because they have to. It's the only way they can survive. So if you get you an independent woman, understand. Help her understand if she can't depend on nobody, she can depend on you. Now, if you want more story times like this, type story time in the comments and I got you. And your comment can be in the next story time. Make sure you follow for more content like this, and to all the cool people that follow me, I'm gonna see you in the next video.